Welcome to the Digital Coffee Break presented by Scrapaneers.com. My name is Tiffany Tillman Emanuel, founder and educator for Scrapaneers, and I'm delighted as always to be your hostess today. New to the coffee break is Michelle Coleman of Little Dreamer Designs, one of my all-time favorite idols of digital scrapbooking design, guys. Michelle Coleman has been creating product for the craft, stationery, and home goods industries for the past 10 years. She is the owner and exclusive designer and creator at Little Dreamer. She has developed product for companies like Simple Stories, American Crafts, Dear Lizzie, Echo Park Paper, Crate Paper, Craftsmith and Company, Pebbles, We Are Memory Keepers, Fancy Pants Designs, Prima Marketing, Die Cuts with a View, and I probably can continue. A veteran digital designer, her work has been featured in Creating Keepsakes magazine, Scrapbooks, etc., Better Homes and Gardens, Memory Makers magazine, as well as many scrapbooking software programs. With her keen eye for color and whimsical flair, and wait till you guys see this if you haven't already, her artwork is instantly recognizable to her many loyal customers. When Michelle is not designing, she can be found playing with her two beautiful daughters and her adorable son. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. Well, I find that it's easier to share different tips and tricks when you're actually designing because when someone just sits and like point blank asks me for a trick or a tip, I'm like, gosh, I just draw a blank because everything I do is just so like, is that a trick? I don't know. Do people do that? I have no idea. So, but I do know that when I'm teaching like or showing a layout, I feel that you'll learn a lot more than just me like trying to give you a tip. So
Sure.
when I start with my layout is I always start with my background paper. I know that, everyone has their own method, but I pick my background paper first and it may possibly change if I'm starting to pull it together and I'm like, hey, that's not really working. But for the most part, I pick the background paper and obviously I know the photo that I'm going to use, so I have that as well. I'm using Photoshop CS or the Creative Cloud,
Hmm.
and so it's like the latest version, and I absolutely love it. I've probably used every version of Photoshop ever created. So I mean, back into like forever long ago. I've kind of just grown with Photoshop. Um,
Yes.
so sorry, I'm getting super winded about all this. Okay, so when I start with my layout, background paper, and my photos. This particular layout that I'm building is only one photo, but it's only because I only have the one shot of my daughter. She is beautiful, and she never lets me photograph her. So I have this one shot
She's
that I
at the
took on my
age.
iPhone, and I am going to go ahead and start with that. So I
Beautiful
use the drag and
photo.
drop method. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, she actually like let me take a picture of her. I'm like super. um, Yes, so there's a lot of ways that you can add a photo into your layout, but I prefer dragging and dropping because in the latest versions of Photoshop, it automatically is a smart image. So when I go ahead and if I want to shrink it, and then I say, oh, actually, I don't like that size, I can go back up again and I haven't lost any resolution in the image because it's a smart image.
Right.
So,
And a lot of people still don't know that the difference between when you have a regular image that's just kind of based off of pixels versus when you have the smart image, and that you can tell you have a smart image because on the right hand bottom of the thumbnail, you have that
yeah,
little smart image icon. So,
yes.
and Rosalie, she's asking the perfect question. What's the benefit of it being a smart image? So say that one more time for us.
Well,
Why you like
because
using smart
for me,
images?
right, for using a smart image, especially with your photos, it's important because as you're working the layout, when I create my layout, I'm pushing it around and moving it, and maybe I'll be like, oh, that photo needs to be bigger, like it just needs to be a little bit bigger. And if it's just a regular, pixel image, if I upscale it to be larger, I'm going to lose quality. And so what I printed out, it might not be as sharp, might not be as clear, it might not look as crisp as if I had, put it in a larger size. Now I could go ahead and just delete that and then go back and, add it in again so that it's, not cropped or cut. But I prefer to just use a smart image, because then it's I can go as large as I want, as big, as small as I want. It's not going to lose resolution, and it's going to look great either way.
Right.
So
So here, do me,
that
right,
is,
reduce it down, bring it all the way down, and then hit the, confirm it, and then bring it back up. And Rosalie, you'll see. Because usually what would happen is once you reduce the size of it and then increase the size, it would become fuzzy. But because it's a
it's gonna,
smart image, it's actually, yeah, exactly. It's remembering all of that information so you don't lose any of the quality. And that's the joy of using the smart image, not just for your photos, but for any of your files if you're using the drag and drop method, bringing it in.
yes. And I feel like it's just easier just to drag it and drop it than have to try and figure out where is that on my computer. It's like for me, I have so
Yes.
many files that it's like, now what folder did I put that in?
Yeah.
So I usually open my kit. I always keep everything together. So like all my kits are in, this is April, this is May, this is whatever. And so I can just go to that file, open what I want, drag it in. It's all pretty simple and easy. Okay, so we've got the
Cool.
image.
Thank you
I'm
for
gonna
that
go
tip,
ahead and,
by the way.
oh, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink it down, and I may change that size. Now, because it's a smart image, there are certain things that you can't do to it because, um, it's still holding all the information of the actual image. All right, so I'm a big stickler for borders around my image. I don't always do it, but on like a smaller photo like this, I do it because I feel like it really helps the image pop. And because it's an iPhone image, it's not like a regular size picture that you would pull in from your camera. It's a little bit different. And I do actually think that I cropped it in my phone, which I should never do because then you're limited to that. But anyway, so the way that I'm going to add my border, instead of just coming here and like adding a stroke to it, I'm actually just going to eyeball right behind it. I just use the selection tool, and I can say that I'm just eyeballing it just to make
Mm-hmm.
the border around the image. You could
Mm-hmm.
select the image and expand it, but then you're going to get rounded, softer corners, and I like the sharp edges. So, so I'll
Mm.
just make a new layer below the picture, and I will just fill it with white. That's black. That's white. And then if I merge these two layers together, then I'm going to lose my smart image. It's, so now if I upsize it anymore, it'll lose quality. So I'm not going to do that yet because I might decide that I want this to be bigger. So I'm just going to link the layers together. But I am
Okay.
still going to add a drop shadow. I always add drop shadows immediately when I put something on a page because I don't want to forget. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like your shadow is what makes your layout look real. So if you can master drop shadows, I feel like you can do anything. That's probably one of the
Yeah.
techniques that is least understood, but it
Mm.
creates such a huge difference on your pages. So I have a lot of I've just set my own styles to shadows that I know I love. Um, like I've just, created them for myself. So it's super easy for me just to go ahead and add a drop shadow on it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep this layout pretty clean and simple. I'm going to go ahead and create my mat. And again, I'm just using my marquee tool. And I'm just going to draw a selection. And this time, go to my paper. I'm not going to drag and drop it. I'm just going to open it. I'm going to select it, copy it, and I'm just going to paste it right into.
Mm-hmm.
And so I opened my paper right here, and I control
Mm-hmm.
all to select it, control C to copy it. And then because I had already drawn the area that I wanted it
The
to go
box.
into, I pasted it
Mm-hmm.
into. So it's not just paste, it's paste into, and it goes into the shape I've selected. And you'll see on the layer, it's created a layer mask. And I just have to say, layer masks are your friends because now I can come over
Yes.
here and click the layer mask, and I can like,
Hmm.
well, maybe I didn't make it big enough. I want to make it bigger. So I just come over here and drag it. So I can make it, really big. I can make it small, but I'm not actually cutting the paper. So it's not, um, losing any of that. I don't have to like, oh, I got to go back and pull that paper back in. It, to me, it's faster, especially with me. Like I like everything to look a certain way. So
Hmm.
it's funny because I am kind of a stickler on my layouts. I like them to like feel a certain way and be a certain way. Um,
Yeah.
but it's just like I like to have that control and not have to worry about bringing it back in. Once it's in, and I can do whatever I
Yes.
want to it. So
Yes. Thank you for that second great tip.
sure.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you. No, that it is because, you know, that's one of the things that we love about the show is that we're able to jump into watching people create pages or design or whatever their thing is. And oftentimes, you know, we think that people know this already or it's just a small thing. And really, it's like a light bulb or a
A
lifesaver or a
huge,
time
yeah,
saver for someone else.
right.
So,
But yeah, like I like it to be when I do find the time to scrap, like when I originally created this layout, I did it in, 15 minutes. It was a very fast, easy, quick layout.
mhm,
So yeah. Okay, so I'm
cool.
gonna go ahead and bring in my washi tape. And like I said before, I'm in love with washi tape. It's like I love it. So, and then on these, I'm in my folder. I'm just gonna select all the washi tape and I'm gonna just take them all over at the same time and just drag them into my layout.
Mm,
And I do have to say, yes, I want them all. So I just click that little check mark at the top. The other reason why I like dragging and dropping is because it labels everything for me. Like if you right
mm,
click on your paper, I right click here, it's got the name of the washi tape. So I know, oh, that's the third one. I can bring that right here. Right click here, oh, that's the second one. And it has the name on it. Um,
mm,
so like
mhm.
for me, sometimes I have layouts or whatever I'm doing it, and there's like 50 bajillion things in it. And I want to know where it is, but I don't want to have to go to the layers palette and try and find it. So by just
Yeah.
right clicking, I can find it and it's already labeled because it's a smart image and it's just fast. So I like fast.
Yes. Actually, no, I was writing down, I'm taking notes so that way when I can write all of this out that people are going to learn. So that's what I'm doing while you're talking.
Oh,
Good.
you're gonna have a lot to write because I feel like I'm gonna like
It's not
just
just the layout, it's your method. And that's, you
right.
know, the designers, you know, I'm a template maker and I have my own shortcuts. I don't teach all of my
Hmm.
shortcuts because some of them are a little off the wall. But when you're watching someone who's not just a layout artist, when you're a designer, we really have to go out of our way to work as efficiently and as fast as we can, you know? And so
Yes.
watching, especially watching a designer work, you pick up a ton of amazing techniques and tricks because it's like, oh, I need to speed up because time is money, you know, and I need to change a poopy diaper
Exactly.
or I need to make dinner
Yeah. Oh
or,
yeah.
you know, I've got to drop a kid off at school. And so I have to get this done. And so watching you, and this has been true of many of the designers that we watch, we end up seeing really cool tricks. And you guys think it's like, oh, this is so easy. But I'm telling you, a lot of us are like, mm-mm, we don't do that. No, we're gonna do it
Okay,
now.
that's
But
great.
Rosalie says, I'm
All
not sure
right.
that the PSE will name the layers when I drag. She will explore that. Thanks, Rosalie, our PSE expert.
Yeah. Perfect. So you. So I am going to make a big title, and then I want to show you how to add like a gold foil on top of it.
Okay.
So the font that I'm using, it's called Boho, which is one of my absolute favorite fonts because there's so many options into it. And I have to say, I'm a font hoarder. I love
Yes.
them. They're like my children almost.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're just I absolutely love fonts. So I have a lot of them, and so when I find one that I absolutely love, I really just use the heck out of it.
Oh yeah. I
So
am
I'm
in
actually
love
going to
with
make
that
that
one.
lowercase.
All.
Okay, so the cool thing about this particular, with this font, isn't it
Mhm.
awesome?
Yes.
So I wanted
Yes.
to show you, it has alternate features in the font, and a lot of people don't know how to apply that in Photoshop. So
Hmm.
I want to apply that in my G and then over here in my S because I like them just to be different on the beginning and the end. So I'm going to go ahead and just type out my word. And not every font does this. It has to have the alternate styles in the font. It has to be built in the font. But if it does
Hmm.
and you're not sure how to actually access them, this is how you do it. So you select the letter that you want to change. This time it's the G. And you go over to your character palette, and if it has the feature in it, you're going to see these are clickable. If they're not clickable, then your font doesn't have this feature. So you would just need to choose a font that does. So you have the stylistic alternates and then you have swashes. Well, I'm going to add the swash to the G, and it's just as simple as clicking that little button. And so now I've got a different style to that G. So I'm
Very
going to do it here
cool.
to the S
Now, this is not a
and just
trick
do
that
this
is
down.
available for anyone who's watching Photoshop, who uses Photoshop elements. There aren't style adjustments that you can make in fonts and PSE, just for you guys who are watching.
I'm going to make this really big. Okay. So now I've got my text, and
Mhm.
actually, do I want to connect that? Am I going to be able to connect it? Nope.
I know, Rosalie, that's no fun, isn't it? I wish they would, I so
Wish you
wish PSE would get
know.
that. Just, man, you guys have to get, because the fonts, if you buy a really nice commercial, beautiful font like this, you want the stylistic
Yes.
alternatives. And so,
Yeah, that's
oh
why you buy the
man,
font.
yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so
So,
here's my text, and in the bonus kit, I included full size where is it, overlays for you,
mm,
and they're both gold. I'm actually going to open them both. When I originally did the layout, I applied one and I decided, oh, it needs a little bit more, so I applied them both. So you're totally welcome to apply just one, put them both together, make your own look. I just copy and pasted my gold,
okay.
and I'm going to come back to my layout and just make sure that I'm just I'm on the same layer as my text, and I'm
Hmm.
just going to just put it in the file and turn it, obviously, so it fits the word. And I am going to create just a clipping path here. I always use my Alt button and just click to
Hmm.
have it take the shape above it. And once it's over the text, then I can kind of like move it around, turn it, and you can see because of the way that this gold overlay is, it kind of just
Hmm.
changes the look of it. But then, like I was saying, I decided that I really wanted something a little extra, so that's why I gave you the second gold overlay so that you
Hmm.
can do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy and paste it, bring it back in, paste it over, and this one's a lot bigger, but and then I'm going to,
Ooh.
whoops, a lot bigger. Just going to change it and just get it to a place that I personally like.
Hmm.
And I think I might take the opacity down a little bit so that the other one kind of shows through, but they're both kind of combined. And you can just play with it, whatever you like, whatever looks good for you. But then once you've decided, okay, that's what I like, or if you want to make it smaller, you'll see the smaller you go, like the texture obviously changes. So
Right,
just
right.
depending on the look you're going for, I think that looks good. So I'm just going to select all three of those layers and I'm just going to merge them together.
Hmm.
Just Control E, and then add, I think I will add a drop shadow onto that. A little one. Okay, so there's my title. So the last part that I would add, obviously journaling, huge important thing to have in your layouts, and any other 3D embellishments just make your layout pop.
Right, right. And I think I have, and I do believe I do have the finished version of the layout. Let me show that to you guys. So you can see how the final page came out, and that is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so you have your text on the side there. You have your text at the bottom. There's the flare on the top right with the stitching. And then the ampersand, is that a brush?
It is. Yes.
Ooh, okay. Very cool. And let's show the kit because I know you guys are all dying to see it if unless you were scrapping with Michelle. This is the gorgeous sample kit. And this is what shared with us here at Scrapaneers. Thank you. It is gorgeous. I love that paper.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's a wonderful page and it's a beautiful mini kit. That's all the time we have for this edition of the Digital Coffee Break, guys. I want to thank Michelle Coleman of Little Dreamers. You can find her goodies at littledreamer.co. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Yes, it's been awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
Thank you to Rosalie. She had to jump out because we were running late, and it is very late in the evening for us on the East Coast. But thank you, Rosalie, for joining us. And thanks to you all, our wonderful viewers who support our video cast and our champion subscription. I'm Tiffany Tillman Emmanuel. Find me over at simplytiffanystudios.com. We'll see you again for the next digital coffee break. And remember, keep creating those beautiful digital memories because no one can capture your piece of the world quite like you can.